When we look at all of the world's ills, one of the biggest sources that people think is that we fail to do the right thing when it's the harder thing to do. Giving into temptation, giving into impulse, and giving into the emotional decisions rather than logical decisions. The part of the brain that's most central to whether or not this happens is the frontal cortex. It's the most recently evolved part of the brain, and we've got more of it proportionally or more complexly than any other primate species out there. It's the part of the brain that does impulse control, long-term planning, and emotional regulation. It's the frontal cortex that whispers in your ear saying, "Do you really, really want to do that right now? If you do, you might regret it later." It also says, "It seems like a great idea right now, but are you prepared for the consequences?" When we look at our moments of life, where there's that enormous temptation to do the impulsive thing, and also what's going to determine whether the world will be free of impulsive horrors, we think if only we could all get a stronger frontal cortex starting in childhood to be able to hold out and make good decisions. There are times when you could say, "I can have one marshmallow right now, but if I wait, I might be able to get two later." Training the frontal cortex from an early age has the most fabulous benefits. Studies suggest that all sorts of junctures of doing the harder thing and having a really robust frontal cortex may do you a lot of good. But when you do truly difficult things, when you see people running into burning buildings to save a child, or they leap into a river when everybody else is standing there like headless chickens, they're not doing it because they've got the most amazing frontal cortex. They do it automatically. You ask anybody who does one of these heroic acts what they were thinking when they jumped into a freezing cold river, and the answer is always the same. "I wasn't thinking. Someone was in serious trouble. Before I knew it, I just jumped in." When we do our most amazing, wondrous, altruistic acts, it's out of the realm of the frontal cortex altogether. It's not about temptation and limbic responses at all. We do the harder thing in extreme cases because of the way we are thinking at the time. For some, it doesn't seem like the harder thing to do at all. It's automatic. What this means is that the best success with temptation is when it isn't tempting at all, but when it's automatic and when we're distracted. All of that frontal cortex that's used to work your way through a correct decision only gets in the way. There's a fabulous study that addresses this, and it's by Harvard professor Josh Green. He put people in a study and scanned their brains on task performance. If they got the tasks right, they got a reward afterward. This was a measure of incentive to get it right. Also, in various points, people were under the impression that there was a glitch in the system and the computer wasn't registering their answers. All they had to do was think what their answer was and then tell the instructor afterward when they heard the correct answer, and then say that was the right answer. In other words, they could cheat. And what you would see for a random task was that most of the people were having about a 50% success rate. Then along came the opportunity to cheat, and people's accuracy suddenly jumped. Then you might think, well, that's how you detect a cheater. But then the question becomes, what's going on with brains of people who cheated at those opportunities? What they saw was as soon as that act came up, the frontal cortex lit up tremendously. They were actually giving serious thought to it and wondering if they should or should not do it. They were also wondering if they should have done it the last time when they were honest, as well as if they're ever going to do it again. That makes sense, right? That's what the frontal cortex does. Then what about the people who have an opportunity to cheat and never cheat? What's going on with them? Well, we've got two models here. Is it one of willpower, where they have frontal cortex that just can be stoic or Calvinist, and they have the most amazing ability to resist extreme temptation of cheating? Or is it a state of grace where they don't cheat because they're just not supposed to cheat? The prediction here is if it's all about willpower, as soon as the opportunity to cheat came up, the frontal cortex goes through the roof in terms of activity. If it's a matter of grace and they never cheated, it wasn't because they had the strongest frontal cortex. It's because they just don't do that. It was that simple. It wasn't a temptation. And that's the model. It's not in the realm of work at all to do the right thing or not do the right thing. For some, it's hard to feel for somebody else or have empathy, and they might not act quickly to save someone from a burning building, or they just don't think before pocketing something that just doesn't belong to them. It's just an impulse. For others, you just step in to help because it's the right thing to do at the time. And it's also the right thing to do to not take things that don't belong to you and to not cheat. This is also just an impulse. Either way, it's not about frontal cortex and decision-making at all. It's just automatic most of the time. Your brain is designed to either react certain ways on impulse, regardless of what is considered the right or morally correct thing to do. What this means is, learning more about the neurological mechanisms is essential in moral decision-making. Our long-term hope is that people may one day improve the judgments they make. We are too willing to rely on our automatic settings, says Green. He concludes with saying that emotion and reason both play critical roles in moral judgment, and their respective influences have been widely misunderstood. Our emotions are there for a reason, and they do a lot of good, but they also get us into trouble in situations that they weren't designed for, and we need to change that. Take care of yourself and take care of each other.